Hi everybody, this is Linda Tillman. We're in my front yard. My car has a dead battery, so I can't go to the community garden apiary, and I didn't want you to miss out on a hive inspection today. So I'm going to inspect this big hive in my front yard and make a split out of it. So I'm going to show you how you do a split. So I've got this box ready to become the split. So I have in it some drone comb from the old hive that was here that absconded at the end of the year. So there are 2 frames of drone comb here and 2 frames of drone comb here. And I'm hopefully going to take 4 frames from the hive over here to put in to this hive. And this hive is all taken apart on the ground. It had a whole bunch of ants living in it. So I dumped them out on the ground, but you can still see little ants running on the top of that frame. So that's prepared. Okay, to start, we're going to light the smoker. The first thing we do is dump out the old smoker fuel. And there's a little vent thing in the bottom of the smoker that turned upside down when I did that. It needs to be right side up because it's sitting up just a little bit to provide some air flow under the fire that we're creating. So now, I'll take a little bit of pine straw. Today I'm going to be using this gorgeous hive tool. David Holloman made it from scratch for me, and I just love it. He entered it in the artisan contest at GBA and then gave it to me, which I just was blown away by. So we put in another little bundle of pine straw and go puff, puff, puff. See, that was too big a bundle of pine straw, and I may have put my fire out. So that's not good. So I'll try again. Get my fire going. Get the flames really shooting up. Now, we'll put a smaller bundle of pine straw. Tamp it down a little bit and go pop, pop. And another small bundle of pine straw. There's a real art to lighting the smoker. And this is my 16th year of beekeeping, and I can't say that I've ever quite gotten it like I should. So keep adding little bundles of pine straw every time. They puff like crazy. Make sure the fire underneath the pine straw is still going, and it appears to be. And I'm about to quit. So we only have this one hive to go through since my car has a dead battery. So now we know the smoker's working, and now we're going to watch the front of the hive. So here's the front of the hive, and we're going to watch and see if we see bees coming in with pollen on their legs. Everybody watch. Everybody watch for pollen. There's, nope. I've seen a bunch of them coming in, but the tulip poplar is blooming today, so more of them are going to be coming. There's one with pollen. More of them are going to be coming in with nectar, because they're all excited about it. There's another one with pollen. So we can feel good, we hope, that the queen is in there laying and all is well. There's another one with pollen. Okay, so that leaves me reassured enough to feel like we can open up the hive and probably be able to find what we need to make a split, which is we need brood and eggs, and we need honey and pollen. So we're going to try to get all of those things from this hive. So we're going to start the inspection by taking the smoker and go puff, puff, puff at the front door. to say I'm coming in. Now these bees have an entrance over here at a hole in the wood, and I'm going to puff back there too so that they know that I'm coming. And then I'm going to set this down in front of the hive. It's very interesting because they have actually, I don't know how they eat away wood, but they have actually worn away or eaten away the wood at the back to make that hole bigger. When you're looking at a hive, the first thing you want to see is lots of bees on the top of the hive. So we see lots of bees. That's really good, and not many hive beetles. I don't see any right this second, but there may be some. And I've got a spot right here. And put the top back on. And put this top back on. Those are mostly nurse bees, and they'll mostly stay, but you want to convince them by telling them this is home. So now we have a big space in our hive, and we need to add some frames. We're also not through. We need resources for them. So we're going to see what we can find. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting an empty frame in for one of those that I took out. And then here's a big old queen cell. I should have taken that in the next frame. But it's the only one we've seen, and I'm going to leave it in case it's the only one they have. But I'm going to bring you over and let you see it. So here's the queen cell. You can see it. It's right there. And we're just going to leave it in the hive. So we've put this box as close to back to normal as we can, having stolen 2 frames from it. But those 2 frames are going to be the start of a nice split in the hive. You should sometimes move a split very far away from the original hive, but since my car has a dead battery and I've done this successfully before, I'm not going to worry about that a lot. Now this box, this next box, is a box that we added. I'm going to open it up. Take off the top. Put this frame in. Put the top back on. And this box is not sitting very centered. And then put this back on. In a way, this is like creating a fake swarm because we're lessening the number of bees in the hive, and we're going to see how that plays out. All right, so we're going to check again and see if we can find one more frame to put in our box over there. Alright, so this has brood in it, as well as honey, and might either be a place to see the queen or a frame to take for our last frame for that new split. So let's just see what we see on this frame. And I'll look for just a minute first, and then I'll show you. There's a lot of worker brood on both sides. I feel good about whatever we're doing because the queen cell is left in that hive. So even if by mistake we took the queen, it won't matter because they have, look at all that nectar, all in there is nectar. And then there's worker brood. there's more nectar. So now we need a hive tool. To make enough room to put this one in. So I'll pull this one over and 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 push this one and see if I can get this to go in here. If I can't, maybe I ought to just take out a frame. That's what I'll do. I'll take out this frame and this frame and put this in and put the empty frame, it's not really empty, but put this frame in next to it and then put this last frame that is empty in this slot. And we have now made a split. Now what we're going to do differently right this minute is we're going to put a full box above this box. And we're going to get this back on its support better. And then I'm going to put the top on this box and put the top on this box, the telescoping cover, and we have made a split. So let's hope it goes well and that the bees are happy there, and yay for us. So now we're going to put a feeder on the little split that we made so that they can have some food. We take off the top, and this is going to show you how to use the rapid feeder. The rapid feeder has a little bar right down here in the bottom, and that sits directly over the center of the inner cover. Then it has this top like an angel food cake pan that goes right in the center, and the bees can come up through the bottom, from the bottom, and they can crawl down the sides to have food. So we're going to pour food into this. So this is sugar syrup. It's 1-to-1 sugar syrup. I don't think it really matters if that's what it is, because that's more similar to nectar. And this will hold about 2 quarts. So that's 1 quart. And hopefully the little girls down in the hive will smell it and will come up. But it may take them the whole day to figure it out. I don't find that bees drown in this type feeder because they can always get out by walking up to the hole in the middle. So once you've filled it, you put the top on. Let me show you what filled looks like. That's what filled looks like. And then you put the top on it. Then it has to be surrounded by something. So I'm going to use an old hive box. The hive box has a break in it right back here, but it's not going to matter because nobody can get to this food except the bees. And the top. And now we have fed this little new hive so that they might have a chance to build their queen and do fine. So here comes my smoker, and I'm going to go puff puff at the front door. They don't seem particularly happy that I'm here, especially if they're getting ready to swarm. Wonder how they decide who gets to go. You know, do they have little name tags that say, this bee gets to go, this bee doesn't, this one stays home, like this little piggy went to market. So some of them get to go and some of them don't. The young bees are the ones who get to go. It's very interesting how it works. Okay, so we have several questions for this hive. One question is, do they need another box? They have honeycomb drawn and they're filling it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their 8 combs. I mean, of their 8 possibilities, 8 frames. So, like that every time, and we've spread them out rather than give them another box. But today, since the tulip poplar has started blooming, regardless, we're giving them another box. The first thing we do is loosen up this box to take it off. I gave away some sheets, so I have some old pillowcases that are great for this. Now this box has honey on this frame, and this frame, and this frame. So it's honey on half the frames. We're still giving them another box. Now this is the box that's got to be put back better than it was the last time. And it's full of brood, I believe. I believe it's the next one down though where we got the queen cell. I can't believe I put this on so badly, but I sure did. And walked away and didn't even realize it wasn't lined up. I don't know what was going on with me that day. Whew, this one's heavy. Full of honey. Goodness. So this is our box full of queen cells and some empty frames because of our taking frames to put over in the queen castle. And we're going to move it off today and look in the very bottom box. Okay, you should be able to see the bottom box as I'm working on it now. We're going to go over here on this side and start over here. We'll put a frame rack on the side of the hive. And a hive drape. And we always start with the second frame, which is this one. It's really hot today, so whatever propolis there is kind of softer because it's warm. So here is our first frame of interest. It has pollen in it, lots of pollen. I'm going to come show it to you. On this side it also has pollen. Seeing lots of drones. We're probably not going to see eggs today because I think they're going to swarm. So they've probably had the queen not laying for 2 or 3 days and getting exercise. So here is this frame, and on this side right in here is all pollen. I'm trying to hold it so you can see the light in there to show you the yellow and orange that is the pollen. Now if we make another queen castle split out of this hive, this would be a good frame to take because of the pollen. So I'm going to put it on the side of the hive over here. It'll be the last one we put back in the hive, and also I'll know that it's the one that's likely to be useful if we need a split because of the pollen. I'll see what this one looks like. They have more of their interesting brood in the second box, which makes sense because it means that they're not subject to the coldness of the evenings. I'm going to get the sun behind me and see what's in this frame. This frame has no eggs in it. They're all cleaned out cells because these girls are trying to swarm. And this is an even better frame of pollen to take to a queen castle. See all the pollen up there in the top? Lots of pollen. And on this side also, lots of pollen. So I'm also going to put this one on the outside. Actually, I'm going to put it on the outside in lieu of the frame I already have on the outside. So I'm putting frame number 3 is the one I'm putting in last. Now this is very interesting. It's almost like they have a queen cell on the top of the frame. I don't think it is. It's probably just a fake queen cell, but it is kind of funny. We'll look at it in a minute. Again, because this is a hive that's about to swarm, there are not any eggs in here, but lots of pollen. And there's some brood on this frame that's going to come out in this next 4 or 5 days. See, this brood right here is going to come out in the next 4 or 5 days. They're like, why did I come along and mess up their plan for the day? It just means they'll swarm. Well, they might not swarm tomorrow. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. So we know they have queen cells in the next box. And so all of their swarm cells must be there. Because so far we're not seeing them here. Again, this has got old worker brood on it. Worker brood that's going to hatch in the next day or two. 2 on both sides. Worker brood that's going to hatch in the next day or two. Again, this one would be a good one to take because of all the pollen. There's tons of pollen all in this part of the frame. But we've already got a good pollen frame, so I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm pretty convinced, I'll look at one more frame, that this box doesn't have anything interesting in it, but the most interesting thing that it has is no brood, no eggs and young brood, because they're trying to swarm and I've interrupted them. Now this too would be a good frame to take, and we're going to take it to the queen castle, but if we can find a good queen cell to go with it, because this one is all worker brood that's going to come out in the next couple of days. And what that would mean in a queen castle is it would be brood that would be available for the bees to use while they're waiting for the queen to come out and start laying. Okay, so we're going to put this one on the side of the hive too, because it's going to be one that's also going to go with us to the queen castle. So we now have 2 of our potential split frames right over there, and we want one with a queen cell on it if we can find it in the next box. So I need some frames to put in the place of what I'm taking out. So I have 2 frames right here that are just empty, and I'm going to put them between frames of drawn comb. I'm not going to put them side by side in here, so I'm putting in one. And then I'm going to move this frame over. And put in another. And we are going to move those 2 that I took off over to the queen castle. There's a possibility we won't find a queen cell we can take, but I'd rather go ahead and move these and be ready than not. Okay, you can see the queen castle. And we loosen the cord on that and lift up the top. Now we have a nuke under here. We don't have this one anymore because I took it to the top bar hive that was queenless. There are all kinds of bees in here that shouldn't be, so I'm going to put the top on here and put the bees that I want to get into this box, which doesn't have any bees in it. One, two. So I'm putting these two frames down in the first two positions in this queen cage, in this queen castle compartment. And hopefully in the next box we can find a frame that we can afford to take to give them a queen cell. Okay, so now we're back over here, and I'm going to take off the frame rack and move this next box, the one where we know they're queen cells. I'm going to move it back onto this onto its place and put it in right so that it goes all the way to the front instead of like I did that white box before, and line it up great in the front and the back. There we go. Okay, so now we're ready to look at this box, which we know has queen cells in it. So what we want to see is if there are more queen cells than the one frame where we know there are at least 6, because we can't take that one. That one is to allow them to rebuild their colony. Because what we're looking for is a queen cell. And this is another empty frame that we put in on April 4th. And it's still empty. There is nectar because the tulip poplar is blooming. So there is nectar for them to use to make wax. But they did not choose to make wax, and it may be because of this swarm impulse that's going on. They are swirling all around here because they so planned to swarm, and I arrived and disrupted the process. So this frame should have queen cells on it. And it does. See all the queen cells? These are the queen cells we've seen before. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one looks like twins. And on the back side there's a queen, 2 that are not, if they were queen cells, they're open on the bottom, which I don't think means that they actually came to fruition and opened. Now what we want to see, we've never gone farther than this since we first started seeing queen cells, so what we want to find out is, are there any queen cells in these next frames? Because if one of them has a queen cell, we're taking it straight over to the queen castle. There are a ton of bees on the queen castle. It just doesn't make sense to me, except these are bees that want to swarm, and so they're just landing there because it's something they can do, I guess. Now what we really want is to see a queen cell on this frame. And there is one, but it doesn't look like a very good one. Now this has a lot of brood on it. Has a lot of brood. on both sides, but no queen cell. Okay, this is our last chance, I think, for being able to make a split. It's whatever's in here, and if it isn't what we want it to be, we're going to have to redo our thinking about making another queen castle split, unless there's some eggs in here. But usually, like I said, they stop the queen from laying right before swarming and put her on a diet, make her run around the hive and get skinnier so she can fly, so she doesn't lay eggs right before she's going to swarm. And that doesn't give a queen castle the opportunity to make a queen. And this is our last chance, and I rather doubt we're going to have queen cells. Maybe we do. Maybe we do. Oh, wow. Let's see. This frame is glued to the side of the hive with because of wax moths. We do, we do, we do. Okay, do you all see the beautiful queen cell on this frame? We're taking that straight to our queen castle, but let me make sure the queen is not on this frame. What a beautiful queen cell that is. Perfect for the queen castle. I'm going to bring her over closer to you. I just have to make sure the queen isn't here. There are actually two queen cells on this frame, but one of them is not capped. The one that is capped looks absolutely beautiful. There are actually two that are not. Oh, is that a queen cell? If it is, it isn't capped. All right, let me come over there and let you see up close and personal how this looks, and make sure you can see. Look at that queen cell right there. Isn't that beautiful? It's not the thing they're hanging on, although that is a queen cell. It's an uncapped one, but this capped one is really pretty. So we're going to take it, and if anybody's wondering, the gunk up at the top of the frame is wax moth detritus. It's wax moth cocoons, but I don't think they have wax moths in them. Okay, so this is going to the queen castle. Okay, I couldn't take you all with me for that, but I'm going to get the bees off of the roof. Because they can't get out if I shut them under the roof. They are stuck there. So I'm going to brush them off and put the roof back on. There we go. So now we have two nukes in the queen castle. One in the middle and one on this outside edge. And hopefully they will grow queens and I will be able to expand my apiary. Now we have to repair this box. All right, now we have to repair this box. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7. And I'm not going to put an empty frame next to an empty frame. So I'm going to move this one over. And this one over. This one's the one with all the queen cells. So I'm going to put the other empty frame right next to it because it gives them plenty of room. Oops. So I don't want to damage a queen cell putting an empty frame back in. All right. Take the empty frame and very, very carefully, because the queen cells are on this frame right here. Actually, to make it easier, I'm going to take out another frame so that I can get the empty frame in there without damaging the queen cell. So I'm going to push this over a little bit, put the empty frame down as gently as I can. I do not want to touch those queen cells. I'm pulling this all the way out. There are queen cells on that side too, but not important ones. So we're going to push this over. put the frame in, and then push those beautiful queen cells back very gently against the hive, against the frame next to it. And push all of that over a little bit. Every time I do that, I mess the box up. Too much force, and it's not propylized enough. Okay, we're going to inspect this hive and see how it's doing. So I've puffed the smoker at the front door, and now I'm going to take the rock off the top of the hive. This is a good propylizing hive, and it always is hard to get the top off. So there are not a lot of bees on the top of the hive. See, hardly any. Probably because they've already swarmed. In this top box, they have beautiful wax. Look at the pretty wax. They have pretty wax. So we're going to look at a frame or two just so I can show you the new wax filled with honey, and then we'll go down to the next boxes. So I did a slight bit of damage to it, but not a lot. And I want you to see how pretty the new wax looks. How just beautiful it is. Just beautiful. And we go around to the other side. It's the side I damaged a little, but they'll be able to fix it because we're just getting started with the honey flow. The frame right next to it is full of beautiful honey too. And this is going to be a honey super for them. Sorry I messed up your comb, little girls, but you can repair it. Now you remember about this hive that it had brood in the second box down. So we're going to look and see what it's got this time around. Look how little this bee is. It's because I use foundationless frames, and they can put whatever size comb they want, and they made a very little bee. Now this is bound to be heavy and hard for me to get off. See, I wish I were young like most of you. It's really hard to lift things when you have bad shoulders and you're an old person. So again, we have the same kind of idea in this one. You can see new comb, new comb, new comb. Really pretty. And we're going to use this box to checkerboard a new box onto this hive, which we'll do in a minute. I sort of dread it because it means I got to lift it up even higher. I'm looking at that frame, I see brood, so we're going to look at it. There was brood and the queen on this frame the last time we were in this hive. Now look at this beautiful frame of brood. Remember the queen we saw last week? This is an absolutely beautiful frame of brood. And not only that, there are eggs in here. So if they are planning to swarm, they haven't left. She hasn't left yet. Let me see how much I can show you. They're so bad on the camera that I can't really see what you can see. Her comb is coming forward on this part, and we need to help it. We need to get it lined up better. So that's what I'm going to work on. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to help the bees when they have a foundationless frame going and they've gotten it out of line like this one is. And I'm going to show you what we do. And on the back, they have a piece of comb that I'm just going to break off, even though it breaks off some brood, because it was not helpful either. It was hanging off the side of the frame and creating a problem. I always have with me in my bee bag, I always have with me rubber bands. And rubber bands are very, very helpful. So what I have to do is put the rubber band over the frame, and I have to do it, let's see how I do this by myself. It's not going to be easy. Okay, let's do like this. I'm always dropping frames when I'm working on the bees. Y'all haven't gotten to see me do it till just now, but I am always doing that. So we're going to put this here so that it's already on the frame, but not on the comb that we want. And we're going to put a second one there also, because I'm going to probably need both of them. That way it can sit on the frame and I can work with it with the frame to support me. So I've got the rubber bands ready, and what I need to do is to move the rubber bands over so that they will coax the comb into the confines of the frame. Now it's going to ruin whatever's under there, probably eggs, but it's the best thing I can do to be able to save the living situation that they've got. So on this one I'm going to go all the way out here and do the same thing. And because it's soft wax, it's bending the wax rather than moving it. So I have to move it with my fingers and then hope the rubber band will hold it. But putting it in that position puts it in a much better position for the hive, because the hive needs it not to be sticking out. And then this is how it looks on the back side. And this is how it looks on the front side. And so we've put it in a position to do better. They're starting to make a queen cup right there. And we're going to put this back in the box now and hope that they do better with it now that it's straightened up. And then we'll put this one back here. There we go. And that's so much for that. All right, now this box, let's see what is going on in here. It has a lot of empty space. And that frame we just took and repaired would be a good one to take to the queen castle if we wanted to make another split with this hive, because it does have little eggs. But I'm not going to do that because I want to make the third nuke in the queen castle from the hive that I have at my house that I've already made a split out of, but I'd like to make another queen castle nuke. Now should I do it from this hive? No, because this is the one with the weird comb that we can't take the pollen and honey very easily. So unless this hive frame, this hive box has a lot of brood in it, let me look and see if it does. Let me turn you down so you can see. Let's look and see if this one has a lot of brood in it. It looks like it does have a lot. I will see. We might be able to take it over there. So we're taking out the second frame from the side of the hive. I really truly do only see one egg on that one. I'm going to hang it here instead of down low and look at the next frame in this hive. We'll cover it up. So this is a very nice frame. Full of brood. A lot of it is going to be drone brood. Some of it's already capped worker brood. And the good news is that where the worker bees have come out, the queen has laid more eggs in those spaces. I don't know, we might just make a split with this one too, especially since it's got those eggs that I can really see. Let me look on the back side of it. A lot of drone brood on the back side, but also some little eggs. I'm going to take this one to the queen castle, so I'll be right back. I'm not going to have you all watch, it's too complicated over there. Okay, this is the really bad news. The queen bee from the other hive was in the queen castle on that side that I had, oh my goodness, and she flew out, so I may have just ruined a lot of things just now because I don't know where she went. She flew out of the queen castle. It wasn't her. Oh my gosh, how to think about that? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to close everything up and not going to do this. I will worry about that other side of the queen castle another day, but today is not going to be it. And I didn't have you with me, so I couldn't show her to you. Oh my God, and that is so scary. I don't know if I've just completely ruined the hive or if she'll go back to the hive or what. So on that tragic note, we're going to stop.